Good morning and welcome to the 6th Swiss Text Analytics Conference. My name is Cieliebak and I'm proud to be chair of this conference together with Manfred Vogel from the FANW in Bruck.
Hello, good morning, everybody.
When we started planning last year in September with this conference, we had to make a hard decision. That was, will we go online or on premise? And what we wanted was obviously something like this, an on-premise conference where we meet, discuss, and interact with each other. We decided that we make this decision in March. And in March, we had to make this hard decision. And we asked you, the participants, what you favor. And about 50% said that they want to have an online conference because they feared to be infected, and the other were somewhat mixed. So we made this decision also because of the current situation, which was in March. It was not our favorite. We would have liked to meet here in Bruck, but that gave us also the opportunity to prepare an online conference, which is a true online conference. So what we made is a program which will allow you to interact with other people. And we have, for instance, 3 interactive sessions where we can walk around, talk to people. And we have a battle of NLP ideas where you can shape future projects and stuff like that. So the idea is really that we connect you to other people and that you can at least online network a little bit. This conference is organized for the first time officially by Swiss NLP, the Swiss Association for Natural Language Processing. And it is in fact organized by 2 universities. That is my university, the Zurich University of Applied Sciences, and Manfred's university, which is now you can probably say better.
University of Applied Science, Northwestern Switzerland.
Which is located where?
And well, which is distributed, but the School of Engineering is located in Bruck-Windisch, where the conference was intended to be taken place.
So we will say later on a little bit about organization and how the conference takes place, and also about the participants. What I would like to start with is a very brief review of what has happened in NLP in the past 12 months since the last SwissText conference. And there has been a lot of different things that went on. One of the first things that I would like to mention is that GPT models are going open source. So as you probably know, there is this huge large-scale GPT-3 model, which has performed excellent in generating text and which was licensed by Microsoft last year exclusively and will be now used in their Power BI solution to generate code, for example. On the other hand, there is several initiatives to build new GPT models and to put them open source, so the code and also the models itself will be public. And one of them is GPT-J, which is by Eleutherum AI, and it is, say, on par with one of the mid-sized GPT-3 models. So it has something like 6 billion parameters, was trained on millions of texts, and it has basically the same performance as 6 billion GPT-3 model of OpenAI. So this is a way where the community wants to push forward the usage of these models, because you can just download the model and run it on your local machines. It is very high performant. It doesn't need very much resources. So if you want to use it locally or you want to try a demo, you can just go to this link, which is on the left-hand side, and then check it out and run it online or download it. And this is, I think, a great initiative because it will allow us to build on top of these models our solutions. Second thing I would like to mention is the development of generative images from text. So if you're given a prompt like build an armchair in the shape of an avocado, and this is one of the most prominent examples, then the computer can generate this image on the right-hand side, or it can generate different variants of these images. And what is behind is a system called DALL-E or DALL-E. And this system is trained on billions of images, millions of images and a lot of text, unsupervised using transformers. And I'm mentioning it because, I mean, image generation from text has been around for a long time, but this is now something like a way how we give back transformers to the computer vision community. So as you probably know, in 2012, 2013, deep learning took off when there was this competition on ImageNet, how to classify images. And the CNN outperformed all the computer vision tools at that time. And we took over this, say, hype in NLP to also build new solutions, very much better solutions. And also we took CNNs to the NLP community. And now the transformer, which was invented in the NLP community, goes back into computer vision and is used there. And it is basically the same technology. So here they just take the sequence of text and concatenate it with the sequence of pixels and run the same transformer that we are running in NLP always to generate these images. And it has been a huge movement in computer vision. So there is now about 200 different variants of transformers used in computer vision. So this is something like we pay back to the CV guys for kicking off the deep learning hype some years ago. So here is another couple of examples. If you want to look at it, it's really impressive what they can generate. I think what is still open is how to make practical use of these projects. But I think this will come in the close future. Third thing I would like to mention is something like magic, at least for me. In 2018, I presented here very briefly how to do machine translation without any parallel corpora. So having only text in two languages, separate text, and then generating a machine translation system basically by aligning the word embeddings. Now in 2021, something similar happens for speech to text. So there is a system which basically takes a huge amount of speech and a huge amount of text, and then can automatically learn to align speech to text and transcribe the speech automatically. Now, this is surprising because you go here from one domain to the other, not only from one language to the other, but from different domains. And it was not so clear for a long time how that works. So let me just give you a brief idea how it works. So what you take is, on the left-hand side, a huge amount of text, and you produce the phonemes out of this text. So producing the sequence of phones that correspond to the written text. And on the right-hand side, you have a huge amount of, say, 50,000 hours of audio, and you use this new model of wave-to-vec 2.0 to embed this audio. And then you let a generator generate artificial phonemes. So they don't have anything to do at the beginning with the true phonemes that we know from language. And then you are using, again, a generative adversarial model network to distinguish whether it is a true sequence of phonemes or it is fake. And running this unsupervised on a couple of thousand hours of labeled, unlabeled speech audio almost achieves the same quality as a supervised model, which is trained on, say, 1,000 hours of audio. So this is really cool because this will give us the opportunity to also build speech-to-text systems on languages where we don't have so much or almost no labeled data. And one of these languages, and this is the last one which I would like to mention, is Swiss German. And this is an initiative that we started, the Schweizer Dialektsammlung, where we are collecting for all the dialects which are spoken in Switzerland, corresponding audio data, in the hope that we can build a good speech-to-text system out of that. And we will hear more about that in the next days. So with this, I hand over to Manfred, who will go to the details now.
Okay, so the SwissText conference became an event of Swiss NLP, the Swiss Association for Natural Language Processing. This association was founded last year, and Swiss NLP is looking for universities who will take over responsibility to organize the conference locally. And this year, as already said, the conference is at the campus in Bruck-Windisch of the University of Northwestern Switzerland. And we organized the conference together with the School of Engineering from Zurich University of Applied Science and with support of the Data Innovation Alliance. But most important, there are a number of sponsors. Without them, the conference would not take place. That's in particular the Mobiliar, PPI, Contexity, Karakun, TagTalk, SuperText, Pangianic, D1, Parashift, and Spinning Bytes. And not to forget, of course, we are also supported by InnoSwiss. And we thank to all the sponsors very much, because without of their contribution, there would be no conference today. So the conference was intended to be in Bruck-Windisch in the campus here, where also the Institute for Data Science is located. In our institute, we are around 50 to 60 people working on machine learning, deep learning projects with a particular focus on stellar physics, or more concretely on solar physics. But we also have a group of about 15 people which are working in NLP domains, mainly in document processing, which means information extraction from unstructured documents. We are working on text summarization, on speech-to-text, and in particular on Swiss German. Mark, maybe you say something about CIA?
Yes, thank you. So CIA is our newly found Center for Artificial Intelligence, which we founded just 2 months ago at ZHW. We currently have 2 research groups, or 2 research topics, main research topics, that is pattern recognition and natural language processing in the CAI. And in the center, in the NLP group, we work on very different topics. So we have about 10 people and a couple of master students working on various topics, like you see on the right-hand side, text classification, also summarization, speech to text Swiss German, which is an overlap with Manfred, and we do some of these projects together, especially Swiss German. And then we work on dialogue system and natural language interfaces to databases.
Okay, then also a heartfelt thank to the organizing team, which is in particular Manuela, Michel, Fernando, and Mark Cooney, Claudio, Yannick, Ala Stöckli, and Tom Tuckner. Without their help, also, again, the conference would not take place. Thank you very much already. Before we start, now let's have a look to the participants. We have 136 participants from all over Switzerland and also from abroad, from Austria, Czech Republic, from England, Germany, India, Italy, Norway, Portugal, Sweden, Spain, and Taiwan. So it is more than the football European Championship. And if we look where the people are coming from, we see that almost half of it are not from academia. So if we compare the numbers against last year, where the conference was together with convents, but also during the COVID pandemic, then we have a little bit more participants than last year, far less than before the COVID situation influenced all these conference scenarios. And we see this year we have more people from small, medium, and also from large companies than before. And that's a very good sign, which makes me feel that companies are becoming aware of the importance of NLP topics. Then, as always, there is an award for the first registration. And this year, we are happy to send the award after conference, of course, by mail, ordinary mail. Unluckily, we can't send it by email to Egon Verlen. Congrats to your registration, and we are happy to have you in the conference. Then we like if you could join us on Twitter with the hashtag SwissText or SwissText 2021. And there is also a Slack channel, which you will get the link to it. And on the Slack channels, we have 3 different channels, one for program announcement. So you will find their upcoming sessions or information about upcoming sessions. Then the tech support if you have any technical issues. And there is a coffee corner channel for free discussions on whatever you like. We would like you to join 5 to 10 minutes before the sessions. And if you have any issues, you could use the chat probably. We also would like you to put your name and your affiliation on this media so that we can see who is joining, and then it is more than an incognito event. Okay, then I give over back to Mark about the workshop day which took place yesterday.
Yeah, so yesterday we already had 5 workshops. That were 3 workshops with new content and 2 shared tasks. So the European Language Grid was here for the second time for an annual workshop where the community came together to discuss how to push this language grid forward. If you don't know what it is, it's kind of a platform where they collect services and providers in the European region, and you can register your online service, for example, for NLP, and then distribute it over this grid. And it's a large European project where they want to push, say, the connection between all these providers. Then we had the sentence end and punctuation prediction for an NLG text shared task. The question is, given a transcript of speech, how can you detect where a sentence starts and ends, and what punctuation is required there? And we had the German speech to text, Swiss German speech to text shared task, which was organized by Manfred and his team. So how can you transcribe Swiss German? That goes on par with the data collection that we are currently running. And there has been pretty good results already. So the winning team had a below score of 46, if I remember correctly. Pretty good. And so we are optimistic that there's good solutions around in the next time. And then we had two workshops. One was on NLP and finance, and the other one was on COVID-19, fighting COVID-19 in Switzerland. And we will have one presentation of this COVID workshop later on in the conference. I think it is tomorrow afternoon, if I'm correct. The workshops were very well visited, so there were between 20 to 30, 35 people per workshop. And I think one reason why we have so many international guests here at the conference is probably due to the shared task and also due to the European Language Grid workshop, which is very distributed. Now, as for today, we have started with a welcome message, and afterwards there will be the first keynote by Lucia Specia. Then we have a short break. And I think this is wrong on the side. There will be no online networking. This is a copy-paste error by myself from last year. So last year we made this online networking event during the coffee break, and we got the feedback that after, say, 1.5 to 2 hours in front of the screen, people want to really have a screen break and turn it off and do something else. And not do online networking. So we decided to move these networking events into the program, so there is nothing happening during the coffee breaks. So there will be then a short break where you can pick your coffee. And then we have 3 parallel tracks. And one of the first sessions in the parallel tracks will be the keynote Q&A session. So like last year, we asked the keynote speakers to stay a little bit longer. So after the keynote, there will be some questions from the audience for, say, 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. And then in the parallel tracks, we will have one track which is dedicated for people who want to talk to the keynote speaker more personally in a small group. Say, usually there is something like 5 to 10 people in this Q&A, and you can directly interact with the speaker then. Then we have a lunch break, and afterwards there will be the Battle of NLP Ideas. I would like to announce it already because there will not be time before lunch to describe it. This is the idea that we come up with great new ideas for innovation projects in NLP here in Switzerland. And we will have something like a tournament where at the end we have the best ideas, which will be followed up and probably get funding somehow by InnoSwiss, for example. We will have another parallel tracks afterwards. And then after the coffee break, the second keynote by Louis Tunstall from Hugging Face. And we will also have a dedicated keynote Q&A session afterwards for those people who want to have a more detailed discussion with Louis. So, and now, this is, I think, the first time at SwissText that the introduction session was on time or even earlier than planned schedule. So we have 5 minutes now until the first keynote starts. And I think we will take just 5 minutes break. You can set up your Slack channel, and then we will start with the introduction of the keynote of Lucia.